Hey everyone, I want to take a quick minute to explain yesterday's post about Malcom X explaining that the white conservative is better than the white liberal. What he means by that is Trump and his candidacy, we already know what to expect. He's already exposed his tactics and what he's going to do against the minority groups and how he's going to approach them. Whereas the white liberal pretends to be our friend and be our voice and be there to help us and save us. But in reality, they're never going to ever give us our voice. And this has been proven just, for example, with our primary election. With Hillary Clinton versus Bernie, it was already exposed that they did everything in their power to eliminate him and make sure he was not even a chance against her. Now, moving forward with Joe Biden, the same thing happened. They already decided they were going to vote for Joe Biden. That's who they wanted. The white majority rallied under him. But how to give the impression that the minority is going to have a chance, a voice in this matter, but also lose, and the white majority still get their candidate? They gave us a woman candidate. They gave us a gay candidate. They gave us Bernie Sanders. All right, somebody who's for everyone. So in the meantime, we're divided amongst these three candidates. They get their one candidate up, and it's done all fairly. But it's just smoke and mirrors. If we would have been united under Bernie, or under Elizabeth, or under Pete, Biden probably wouldn't have won. But we don't know that because that's never an opportunity. They divide us each and every time, making it impossible for our voice to ever be heard. Because if our voice was heard, I highly doubt we would be putting our support, the minority group, under a presidential nominee who has countlessly voted against us, voted against integration of buses, voted against federal funding for abortion clinics, voted against Social Security for the elderly, voted against openly gays in the military. He's voted countless times against us because he follows corporate funding. That's why we need to protest the system that has given us this, gerrymandering and our presidential nominee system. Let everybody be on the final ballot for the presidential election. Or give us another opportunity with Bernie against Biden or Elizabeth against Biden. See what happens then. But this is BS. And that's it. And we've put up for this for so long because we're starving. The minorities are starving. And they've just been giving us crumbs. And when you've been starving for so long, crumbs are just as satisfying. But when you realize that they've been holding out a piece of the pie, the whole damn pie, then you'll realize that it's time for a bigger change. We need to change our presidential nominee system, gerrymandering and everything that comes with it. But that's the real change. That's when our voice will really be heard, not pretending to rally behind Joe Biden.
In this crooked game of power politics here in America, the Negro, namely the race problem, integration, civil rights issue, are all nothing but tools used by the whites who call themselves liberals against another group of whites who call themselves conservatives, either to get into power or to retain power. Among whites here in America, the political teams are no longer divided into Democrats and Republicans. The whites who are now struggling for control of the American political throne are divided into liberal and conservative camps. The white liberals from both parties cross party lines to work together toward the same goal. And white conservatives from both parties do likewise. The white liberal differs from the white conservative only in one way. The liberal is more deceitful, more hypocritical than the conservative. Both want power, but the white liberal is the one who has perfected the art of posing as the Negro's friend and benefactor. And by winning the friendship and support of the Negro, the white liberal is able to use the Negro as a pawn or a weapon in this political football game that is constantly raging between the white liberals and the white conservatives. The American Negro is nothing but a political football, and the white liberals control this ball through tricks or tokenism, false promises of integration and civil rights. In this game of deceiving and using the American Negro, the white liberals have complete cooperation of the Negro civil rights leader, who sell our people out for a few crumbs of token recognition, token gains, token progress. In the New York Tribune, in an editorial dated February the 5th, 1960,
beneath what you see. Of course, these actions are against the law. Of course, they're not what we want to see. But we in the majority cannot allow ourselves to be corrupted by toxic talk about the correct way to express that pain. You can't simplify it to the point of a false equivalence that puts some insured buildings on equal footing with an apparently never-ending pattern of dead, black, young men at the hands of those who are supposed to protect them. Tonight, we see a wrong after a wrong. And yes, two wrongs don't make a right. But if we don't address why we keep ending up here, we'll never make things right. It isn't the rebels lighting fires. It isn't the media exposing the reality. The problem is the reality. Just look at the last 3 months. Forget about policing. Look at the toll of the pandemic. More people of color are getting sick and dying. Why? Less access to care. More minorities are losing their jobs at a faster rate. Yet they make up the higher percentage of those at work right now in jobs deemed essential. Imagine how that feels. Helping more and being helped less. They stand a greater chance, minorities, of getting stopped for wearing and not wearing masks. Those government small business loans, they didn't go evenly to the majority and minority. Most went to the majority. In one America, people rage for the freedom to get a haircut and a tattoo. The other is raging just to be seen and heard. One America says they won't wear a mask because when they jog, it's uncomfortable, not necessary. It's an affront to their liberty. One has renewed fear that going for a jog could get you killed. One America insists their need for football is so sacrosanct there can be no kneeling protest on the sidelines. Sons of bitches. But is not outraged by a cop kneeling on this man's neck? Doesn't make it okay to riot, says the majority. But doesn't it depend why it's happening? A riot in Boston Harbor started the fight that amounted to America. Cities burned across the continent in 1968, again at Stonewall. In each of those cases, it was the minority manifesting a desperate plea to be heard and for change, just like now. A friend of mine, celebrated American and African American, asked me in a broken voice, why doesn't America love us? Why do they do this to us? And he wasn't just talking about this latest case, he was talking about all of it. And by America, he meant me. He meant you, the white majority. Now you can listen to those who put it on the minorities. Violent, outrageous, lazy, they hate the majority, they don't comply with the police, they're the tyrants, look what they're doing in the streets. You're judging symptoms and you're missing the illness, and you know it. It was Nelson Mandela who said, when a man is denied the right to live the life he believes in, he has no choice but to become an outlaw. And you know this is true. More poverty means more crime, means more interactions with police, means less avenues to dignity, to power, to change, for hope, for respect of the law, and for optimism that drives ambition to live the American dream. Please don't just see the death of George Floyd. See all of it. Yes, this one is on video. And yes, it's so obvious. So that you can say, well, this one I get. It's not just this one. It's that the officers in it seem to be saying, we know it's wrong, and we're going to do it anyway. That's why the minority screams. Not just this video. It's the prosecutions that don't happen, the cases that aren't on video that you don't see, and the prosecutions that do happen of the wrong people, the punishments that are too harsh for the crimes minorities commit. It's the laws that make it harder to vote and easier to be out of a job. So you can listen to those who say, put it on the minority, they're the tyrants. But it's still going to be your problem. You know why? Only the majority can fix it. The minority doesn't have the power. My father joined a generation of leaders from and for the minority, calling out this tale of two cities to you, the majority. And here I am, his son, almost 40 years later, and we have yet to answer the call. A house divided cannot stand. United we stand, divided we fall. E pluribus unum, one out of many. We are all in it together. How many times must we try to teach the same lesson? The pandemic will pass. The case will fade into the others, but our real problems remain. They'll only go away when we finally realize that minority and majority must come together or America will never be her best.